Uncle's there, and it's like, yeah, you do this, and Peter's like, he's like a little 2-foot arrogant, all crap. Yeah, I'm sorry, Aunt May, and then it blows into this big fight. I mean, that's how parenting is. I mean, they're not your best friend; they're your parent. I mean, given Uncle Ben is his uncle, but he also serves as his father. That's what I really liked about this film. That, I mean, screw the sympathetic. You could be, you can have a sympathetic moment, in certain parts of life, but parenting, your father's not here, I'm here. You go, you do this. When I say, when you screw up, you basically point out. How do you guys feel about that?
I liked it. I mean, to be honest, like I'll bring this just quick up that Sam Raimi, go back to Evil Dead, please, and have Bruce Campbell come back, because God knows you were great with those films. These films you were not good with. Raimi, you are a hit and miss director. I'm sorry, you are. But in terms, this film was much better than the other three films, especially Spider-Man 3, which was a freaking joke.
Hey. And to go back to what Mana was talking about Uncle Ben, yeah, like the thing is, like, there's reasons for every single conversation and every scene in the movie. Like, there's build up behind it, which is why the scenes are so powerful. It's like, this is what I find funny. In the Raimi movies, when Uncle Ben was dropping Peter off at the library or whatever, he's just giving him advice for something, and then Peter comes out of nowhere and says, "You're not my father, stop acting like one." And I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
That's to be honest, that's an asshole move. Yet in this one, they were talking about Peter being irresponsible, and he said, if your father lived by this philosophy that if you've got powers, it's your responsibility to do something with it. And then Peter said, then why isn't he here right now? And then Uncle Ben gets mad, saying, "Oh, you're better than this, Peter." That is a scene ripped straight from Ultimate Spider-Man, and it was handled beautifully. I mean, I need this movie. I need to go see it again. Can we please move on to something else now?
All right, then. Next topic, dub haters.
Oh, you want to start that one off, Ash?
Sure. I get really annoyed with them real easily because they don't bring up a good argument. Their argument is, all dubs suck. Have you watched all dubs? No, because I don't want my ears to bleed. Then how do you know it sucks? Because the Japanese version is superior. How do you know the Japanese version is superior? I just do. It's like, okay, whatever. Live in Fantasyland. The problem is they don't bring up a good argument. It's because at first they get butthurt if you disrespect the Japanese voice actor. That's understandable. I don't like when the Japanese voice actor is disrespected either. But it seems like to them, oh, well, I'm going to disrespect the English voice actor because that's okay. That's not okay. What they don't realize about anime dubs, first, a lot of the voice actors, they love to do it. That's one of the things that I love about dubbed anime nowadays. These voice actors love to do it. It's not people bums off the streets. It's 100% people who know what they're doing and they have a real passion for this. And the pay is complete shit too. That's another thing that dub haters don't realize is a lot of voice actors get shit pay. I mean, unless you're like Steve Blum, who gets amazing money, most voice actors don't get a lot of money, and it's just really irritating. I'm also irritated with this whole emotion crap. Oh, the Japanese voice actors, they bring more emotion to the scene. That's not entirely true. Voice actors here in the U.S., they bring a lot of great emotion too. In fact, every actor is different. I mean, every voice actor, Japanese or English, they're different. No one is going to be the same in terms of acting or skill.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can... sorry. Man, tomorrow you continue.
Okay, well, in that... the follow-up in that argument, when it comes to dubbing, there hasn't been a lot of dubbing, I know, that is good or bad. I mean, there's some I have heard that's kind of mediocre, but the real superior dubbing I've heard has to be straight up from the Kai uncut. Whenever I watch an episode, I can get a feeling of the actors, putting their and enthusiasm into the characters. And this is argument fans. I think it's Sonny Strait he's the one who voices Krillin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he brought up this argument when it came to Kai that I guess you could say it's similar to the dub haters because they're saying that Dragon Ball Kai is crap and it's terrible. And he asked them, "Well, have you watched the DVDs?" They say, "No." Well, then what? Because I have never watched Kai on 4Kids. I buy Blu-rays to watch them because based on what Sonny Strait describes it, it's pretty embarrassing. Namely, the Namek expression, which is, I think it's the scene where it's after Frieza has killed him off, and I believe Goku's doing the speech. I'm not 100% certain, but Sonny Strait says, "Oh well, these Nameks, they're sleeping. They're not dead. They're taking a nap." And then of course, who could forget Popo being blue?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I still can't get over that. That's one of the reasons why I refuse to watch 4Kids when it comes to Kai, because no, Popo is not blue. Okay, there's nothing wrong with Popo being. Is all characters black suddenly a racial problem? Oh no, we got to have the character a different color. I never really understood that.
Neo Gainspark, you can continue.
Alright, yeah. To follow up on the whole Popo thing, it's like the second they change the colors when they make a big deal about it. Because honestly, I don't know if it's just me. I didn't see people making such a big deal about Popo, and if they did, it was a small minority. I don't know. 4Kids just bit off more than they could chew with Kai. And regarding Kai, it's like people say that it sucks, and I'm like, why? They watched 4Kids version. I'm like, okay, why did it suck? Because it was edited, and I'm like, it's on TV, on a kids network, no less. And I'm like, the thing about Kai that you have to notice, though, is that the improvements in the acting, the improvements in the script writing, the improvements in the pacing, all that stuff that just seems to glance over their head. But going back to dubs and the dub haters, there was definitely a time when it was cool to hate on anime dubs or watching them in English dubs, like in the 80s and the 90s when dubs were notorious from being mediocre at best compared to the Japanese versions. There was a time, and it took a while for anime to get established over here where they could actually take the show seriously and provide a good English product. And, it took time. And I don't think it was until, like, Cowboy Bebop when people were like, oh, shit, that is a really good English dub. Because people were used to listening to, like, Dragon Ball Z English dub by Ocean and Funimation and, some other stuff that came before, like the really cheesy stuff. But, I mean, there's really no argument nowadays when it comes to dubs because, voice actors have gotten better. Script writers have gotten better. It's more intact with the Japanese version. These companies are taking their products a lot more seriously than they ever have. There are dubs nowadays that completely eclipse the Japanese versions, like Full Metal Alchemist. I'm not saying the Japanese version is bad in any way, but there are certain dubs that outperform their Japanese counterparts. Cowboy Bebop, Trigun. There's so many other shows out there. But, I mean, yeah, it comes down to preference on what you want to listen to, English or Japanese, but you don't just go out bashing this version, because it makes my ears hurt, because there are people that like it, and you can't label an entire, like an entire speaking language anime based off what you saw the Dragon Ball Z dub. You can't label the entire thing on that. It's like, what if I saw a really bad, crappy Japanese anime and I listened to the way their actors portray the characters? I'm like, this thing is shitty, so by default, all Japanese anime is shitty. That's very ignorant, that's very close-minded, and it makes you look stupid and foolish. But yeah, dubs have improved, definitely. over time. It's taken some time for them to get better, but they are here. While there are some dubs nowadays that are still wonky, that's to be expected, if anything. It's funny. It's like all English dub is bad, yet the Japanese versions are superior by default. When most of these people don't speak Japanese, they don't read Japanese, most of them probably wouldn't know what makes a good performance if they listen to that, because they just think that, oh, it just sounds cooler, so it makes it better. I mean, a lot of these performances that people say are top-notch are actually pretty damn crappy in comparison, like zero emotion, zero acting. It's because they don't know the language at all. They just think if it sounds cool, it makes it better by default. And newsflash, voice actors are not supposed to be voice impersonators. They have their own take on the characters. So if it sounds slightly different, that's to be expected. As long as they capture said character and who they are, then it's perfectly fine, which is why a lot of people like Sean Schemmel as Goku, because he captures everything about the character, just as Masako Nozawa did when she portrayed Goku. They can capture the same character, his goofiness, etc., etc. You guys already know Goku, but they don't need to sound completely like the Japanese counterpart in order to be good, because that's foolish in some cases. Because what if it's poorly acted? What if the script is crappy, etc., etc.? I mean, there's so many variables that you have to consider. But to sum it up, to hate on an entire freaking English-speaking language just because of one bad dub you've seen, it's ignorant.
Well, now, to go into that, are you being...
I just wanted to bring this up, Matt, tomorrow. Mm-hmm. One quick thing. It's also the fact that when our stuff gets dubbed in Japanese, like an American cartoon or American movie, I hear people praising it, saying, "Oh, it's so awesome in Japanese. Oh, why aren't they doing more stuff in Japanese?" It's like, and you could tell it's poorly dubbed, yet they're saying, "Oh, it's great. No, it's great. You're not understanding it. It's a horrible dub." I'm going to be honest. Okay, when it comes to subs, certain anime, yes, I'll watch subbed. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. There are bad dubs. No one questions that. But there's also good dubs. There's also very good dubs. And another thing in terms of other like live action Japanese films or Asian films or European, I have to watch that sub, because live action stuff, in my personal opinion, is impossible to really dub because of the sync, lip sync, and all that stuff. But that's just my opinion of it.
Yeah. It's the truth. I mean, it's like, oh man, fuck English dubs, and then when a English cartoon comes over there, oh, it's so much better because it's in Japanese. I mean, these are the freaking weeaboos, the hardcore otaku, who don't want to hear anything unless it's in Japanese, which is what I find funny. It's like, you know what? Let's take a really popular movie and let's dub over it with Japanese voices. Let's see what they'd say. Oh, it's so much cooler now, yet it looks stupid. The bottom line is that, like Ash said, there are good dubs, there are bad dubs, just as there are bad Japanese versions and good Japanese versions. Oh man, idiots.
All right, man. Tomorrow.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, you finish this one off, and we'll go on to our final topic.
Okay. Two points. I mean, one is sort of to elaborate. I mean, in question of what was Neo talking about when it comes to the dubbing. I mean, is he talking about in the perspective of the Japanese counterpart, like their mannerism? Because I know with Goku, I have watched Dragon Ball Z, the Funimation version from start to finish. The Saiyan Saga to the Buu Saga in the Japanese format, and that the voice actor, her impersonation of Goku, it's a bit more believable because she's interpreting Goku as a dimwit, because she doesn't call Master Roshi. She calls Master Roshi old timer, because Goku isn't sophisticated. Are you saying, that some dubs should not try to incorporate the dialogue from the Japanese counterpart? Like, for example, Goku saying in the Funimation. I don't know if it's the Funimation, but the Kai or both. When Goku's a Super Saiyan in the redubbing, he actually uses that line that I am Son Goku and I am a Super Saiyan, Are you saying that dubbing shouldn't be like that?